Hi friends, welcome back. Let's talk about the stock market. Is there a crash coming? FTX, Apple, and some interesting news from Xiaomi. So let's just jump right in here. Regarding FTX, so Sam Bankman-Fried got sentenced, and it's 25 years in prison for fraud. Let's read the details of this thing. It says here, Sam Bankman-Fried has been sentenced to 25 years in prison over his role in the collapse of the FTX cryptocurrency. U.S. judge concluded he had done enormous harm by stealing billions of dollars in customer funds to make risky bets. The sentence among the longest ever for a U.S. white-collar crime, and he's 32 years old. And there's more. It says here, guilty on 7 counts of fraud, money laundering, and the judge is saying he knew his actions were wrong and knew it was, quote, criminal. And also says here, Sam Bankman-Fried showed, quote, lack of any real remorse. So I guess he's not sorry. But and the one thing I was thinking about this for these kind of people, does he have a bunch of money hidden somewhere? I always wonder that for these kind of things. Quote, he regrets that he made a very bad bet on the likelihood of getting caught, right? So he's only sorry about getting caught, basically, is what the judge says. But he is not going to admit a thing. The judge also concluded that Bankman-Fried had tried to tamper with a witness and lied several times while testifying at trial. So not a good look. Obviously, that's why he's guilty. And again, 25 years. How does this rank among these kind of sentences for white-collar crime in history? Bernie Madoff got sentenced to 150 years. Sam Bankman-Fried, 25 years. You had to also have Bernard Ebbers. You don't want to be on this list, guys. CEO of WorldCom, that was 25 years. Jeffrey Skilling, that was Enron, 14 years. Walter Forbes, chairman of Cedent, that was 12 years, 7 months. And Elizabeth Holmes, that was the Theranos thing, that was 11 years, 3 months. So interesting in perspective on that. If you want to check out what's going on in the markets today, you can see here some of your bigger stocks were down. So your Microsoft, Apple, Meta were in the red. Tesla was also down. Then you have Amazon and Nvidia were up. You can take a look at the sectors here. So energy was leading the way, also with utilities. The losers today were consumer, discretionary, technology, and communication services. It's always good to check out which sectors are moving. If I want to look at which stocks type were moving, value was the winner. You have equal weight, dividend stocks, and the losers were growth and momentum. But I'll tell you what is a winner, and you should pick up a copy. Is my book. It's called Positive Angle, and even Kitty likes it. So if it's good enough for Kitty, it should be good enough for you. But seriously, don't pick up a copy. It's on Amazon, and always appreciate your support. And I think you'll really like it. Going back to the markets, there were some interesting headlines regarding AI being sort of the catalyst for this recent boom. And I guess this last quarter was says best quarter in 5 years. Moreover, this is sort of always what you're wondering is, can things go up forever? The answer is no, they can't. And what happens to a lot of people is they buy at the top because you essentially first get in the market. You look at, okay, what stocks are awesome? And you're like, well, I mean, look at something like Nvidia has been going up a lot. And you kind of expect it to go up more because it's so easy to make money in the market is kind of what a lot of people think. And then you get these kind of headlines, Wall Street on edge with momentum trade wrapping up historic quarter, right? So essentially, you buy things that have been going up because you expect them to go up further. When you look at the details of this stuff, I want to show you guys this chart here. This is the AI LLM craze, so LLM craze. So essentially the current AI bubble, or as it LLM is, was it large language model, I believe. You can see here how it ranks. So it's actually just things have been going up like crazy. This was the dot-com bubble back there, so it's kind of close to that. This is the great financial crisis, right before the crash, right there. So we're actually kind of at those kind of levels. So you guys can see right here. So again, this is a sort of tracking momentum. Can it keep going further? I mean, just ask the Reddit people here. Reddit was doing awesome, like I guess the first day, but now it's down 25%. We'll see if it continues. And I think it's just kind of reflective of that. So like these kind of the charts that I like to look at. Now, when you read some more of the details, it says here, investors have bought into the artificial intelligence promise in droves, setting valuations for the stock market's biggest winners soaring on bets. This game-changing technology will rain profits in the years ahead, regardless of the twists and turns in the economy. So if you understand what we're talking about here, valuations, the basic idea is like, how do we value a company? I always try to point out, guys, price to earnings, ratio. This the basic metric is like, okay, how much money does a company make compared to how much are you willing to pay for the stock, right? The price of the stock. And again, you can see the momentum of the recent AI LM. And I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. If you think this AI thing is here to stay, or is it just simply a bubble? Now, one thing I want to point out, though, is that you can be right on the technology and essentially right on the companies, but wrong on the valuation, meaning that how much are you valuing said company, right? So, for example, like today, if I say, guys, we're going to have computers in the future, and hence we should all be buying said companies. And I give you an example. Let's say we all decide to buy Dell computer, for example, but we're all paying $1 trillion for Dell. I mean, yes, maybe Dell makes computers, and yes, maybe they're going to sell computers in the future, but is Dell worth $1 trillion? Probably not. Here's a simple example where, the Tesla's been in a bubble for a long time. The bubble lasted much longer than I had expected, because it's hard to know exactly, how long these bubbles will last. But it seems the air is coming out. So you can see here, Tesla's 350 billion stock slump shreds investors' expectations. And if you want to compare and understand like how big of a bubble Tesla is, just for example, remember I mentioned the multiples, right? Price earnings ratio, like, so how much is the price of a stock compared to how much a company earns. Tesla's PE ratio has always been really high. It's up here, like in the 60 sums. And how does that compare to other companies that are technology companies? And here's the interesting thing, is that the bulls will try to tell you Tesla is a technology company. I tell you it's a car company. Now, even if you believe that Tesla is a tech company, like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, etc., it is still trading at crazy high multiples compared to them, like double. So Tesla could go down another half if if you want to treat it like a tech company, because the growth isn't there. Like Tesla's a growth stock with no growth, which is kind of crazy. If you want to treat it like a car company, I'm at a multiple of 60. I mean, Ford, GM, these kind of things, they trade at multiples. Remember, price of the stock compared to how much company earns, in the tens. So in that case, Tesla would be 6 times overvalued. So is it double overvalued or 6 times overvalued? Who knows? Maybe somewhere in between there. But the thing is, they're not growing, and also too, it's a competitive market. I'm going to show you something that the Tesla bulls and pumpers will never show you. This is the chart of the sort of market in China, and China is an important market for selling vehicles. You can see here BYD 32.9%, whereas Tesla is 8.4%. But they're not the only players. Look at all of these companies involved here. There's really a lot, and a lot of companies you probably haven't even heard of, because of a lot of ones that popped up. Now, it happens to many companies. Remember, because guys were talking about momentum and people getting into the market, etc. You remember Apple when they introduced the iPad and it was like super cool. I mean, it was a it was a game changer, and it created a new product category, the tablets, and people did buy them. And now when they introduce a new one, like I guess now there's a rumor there's gonna be a new one coming out, and it's like it's not even big news, because I mean, is it really much different than it was before? It may have a better screen, maybe a little bit faster, right? But sales start to temper off. So this is like iPad sales, right? So they were cool when they first came out, and they sold one iPad, and the next year they sold 100 iPads, and like, oh my God, look at the growth of iPads from 1 to 100, and suddenly it starts to just level off. It's not like people won't buy iPads; they do. It's just the growth isn't there. And again, talking about Tesla, trying to explain to understand the stock market is when the stock is priced for growth in the future, but the growth's not there. Obviously, then it would be overvalued. Moreover, when you were talking about what's happening around the world, because guys, I try to show you everything I possibly can, because I read everything and try to summarize it best I can. Country Garden, and as I mentioned before, this is one of the real estate developers in China. When I always tell you the same thing, when you don't hear anything coming out of China, it doesn't mean it's necessarily good news. It just means that we haven't had yet more bad news revealed. So I guess Country Garden is going to delay their financial results, like sharing their info, and then trading will probably be suspended next week as we come out of the holidays. So not great. That was a surprise. They were supposed to release their results, but it's not here. I mean, usually if a company is delaying, it's not going to be good news. So that's what I expect. What is interesting news, and you can say if it's good or not, Xiaomi is releasing their new car. It's going to be cheaper than the Model 3. So they're saying here 4K cheaper than the Model 3. This is in China. It's going to be called the SU7, priced around 30, right? So 29.9. Honestly, guys, the car looks good. There's no way to put it. The car looks good. Now, is it a great car to drive, a great car to own? I have no idea. It's a new car. Who knows? But the car looks good. And if I was looking at a car and this was like, less money than the Model 3, and this looked like much nicer, I mean, I can literally see it with my own eyes. It looks good. I'm really, really curious how this thing's going to turn out now, because to be fair, I thought the Fisker looked like a good car. Obviously you want to test drive a car. So for anyone out there in the car market, go see the car, test drive the car, check it out for yourself. Don't just go on looks alone, but looks will certainly attract buyers. I guess in the first 27 minutes, you got 50,000 pre-orders. We'll see if this ends up being a seller for them or not, and how good it is. But I'm curious on this thing because again, it looks good. But it's hard to compete with brands that are already in existence. Remember, Xiaomi makes phones; they're trying to jump in the car market. Toyota, I guess they're going to be saying this is kind of a what's the word to say? I won't say rumor. I'll just say usually the way when these news come out, it's like an insider that works at the company, but they're not authorized to release the news. But Toyota could be announcing quickly that the Tacoma and Tundra may have the electric/plug-in versions of it. We're talking about this kind of thing. I think these will be really popular when they do finally come out. And as we guys talk about on the channel, it's always fun to make fun of Tesla because the fanboys and fangirls have to do mental gymnastics to justify things. It's hard to convince me that I would want to buy a Cybertruck for like 100K opposed to picking up something like this Toyota. I bet you. I'm sure these aren't going to be cheap, but let's say they come in at 85 or maybe 70. Who knows? I don't know what they're going to price out, but I'm saying it's kind of hard to convince me to buy a Cybertruck or something like this. There's some sort of designs that you don't need to change that much. Keep it looking like a truck, and I think consumers are probably likely agree. Plus, Toyota tends to be pretty reliable, so we'll see how this kind of thing goes. And I'll be curious your guys' thoughts on this stuff. If indeed this would be a big seller for them if they do come out electric, and if you'd be in the line for this, either a Tacoma or a Tundra. I know we have people in the community who own these vehicles and swear by them. I know a lot of people who like these kind of cars because they're reliable and they get the job done. So anyway, that's the news for the day. Love to hear your thoughts on any one of these things, and always appreciate your time, and I'll catch you next video.